Paladins will be one of the strongest picks for PvP in Season of Discovery. Today I'll dive deep into why that is and consider the viability, strengths and weaknesses of all specs for level 25 meta and place them in my Phase 1 tier list. I'll also foreshadow what is to come at higher levels. As it looks like PvP will be a major part of Season of Discovery, I find this level of detail is useful to get a full understanding of what to expect if you decide for this class. Let's jump into it. So, Retro Paladins. They get Crusader Strike in Season of Discovery, Divine Storm, and Rebuke. Alternatively to Rebuke, they can take Exorcist for a ranged attack ability, dealing holy damage on range, or Avenger's Shield, which is also a range, granting them a slow. But probably an interrupt is a big deal for Holy Paladins. They get their usual toolkit, which they get very early on, so they get almost a full, complete toolkit of a Paladin, which is strong for small group play. Divine Protection, which grants immunity, but at this level they can do no offensives with it. Lay on Hands as a last resort. Freedom, which is huge for themselves or their friends who are getting kited. Seal of Command is available. That's what they're going to use for damage, or Seal of Justice for catching up to somebody, a rogue who's running away with sprint, then they can't be sprint anymore. And Paladins will then be able to catch up to them with the Pursuit of Justice talent over here. And they get a couple of crit talents here, which are very good for their burst, of course. And a bit of mana regen, or mana reduction cost, and attack power. Hand of Justice, critical for that burst and killing people inside burst. A Blessing of Protection as well, to help their casters in particular stay out of trouble. So, Retro Paladins get huge bursts. They are probably going to be number one damage dealers in melee at this level, since they get basically their whole toolkit for damage at this level. And they could even go Exorcism, take away Rebuke and go Exorcism for a really high burst damage. And some of this damage is holy as well, which is really useful against, say, warriors or druid bears or something like that. Or warlock, tanky warlocks with a lot of armor, let's say. Paladins, as usual, have 3 lives, if not 4, with protection, lay on hands, and blessing of protection if they last long enough. So it's very, very difficult to kill them. It's very hard to slow them, since they have freedom and pursuit of justice, which keeps them going. And they can basically escape almost any sticky situation, which is going to be very useful in Ashenvale and about, where there's going to be a lot of people trying to get you into PvP combat when they are at an advantage. So you might be able to slip out of that. They get this toolkit. That's really cool. And they have been previously very susceptible to CC, which really helps with Rebuke. Now they have a proper way to counter fears and polymorphs and such. They are going to probably be the melee king in all types of scenarios, have you 1v1, small groups or raid groups. They're very strong 1v1. They can heal and live many times and have good burst. And are not going to be so easy to get away from as previously. And even in group scenarios, larger group scenarios, where most melee are going to struggle, they will have their immunity, they'll have the freedom to get out of there. They'll be very, very good. And they'll be very good post level 40, because they are missing Repentance until level 40 and Hammer of Wrath until level 44. So they do miss a little bit of finisher there and catch up for, say, a hunter who is far away. So that's going to give them even more later on. And they don't have any slow unless they go Avenger's Shield, which they will probably not, as that will mean they won't have Rebuke. Red Paladins land at top end of the A tier. I have in mind to put them in the S tier, but It just I'm just not quite sure they are fully as strong at this low level. But they might even go higher at level 40. They may not scale fully as well as some other classes. So they might stay around somewhere in the A tier even later on for PvP. Protection Paladin is not really going to be a thing. You might get some slightly additional armor and block, and you get Blessing of Kings, which would be the biggest thing you could get in the going protection. But since you can't get Reckoning until level 40, it's probably a spec people will wait for until the 40s. The pros of the Protection Paladin is that they are good for large battles, giving kings and being more tanky. They can chase and escape more easily with Avenger's Shield, and they'll be doing steady damage with Crusader Strike and Divine Storm. So they'll be really fun and viable at 40 plus. So adding some variety to Paladins, basically being able to play all their specs come the 40s. The only thing you could say as a con is they're probably not very good in 1v1, except for like against rogues and warriors. Yeah. And since Paladins lack a little bit of burst, probably still easy to get away from them for many other classes. Yeah, as it always have been. So yeah, Paladin definitely much lower on the tier list, more like the middle of the C tier. And but they might be crawling up to B tier in the 40s plus when they get a little bit more gear, access to some plate as well. Holy Paladin come really, really good. They were already tanky, but yeah, they get Beacon of Light, which heals second target. And you can even heal yourself from 60 yards away, and then that beacon is still going to be healed, so you can just run away and heal them. It's pretty ridiculous. Quite overpowered. Inspiration Exemplar is also very good. I assume it will have like a range cap, something like 25 yards or something. But still, so you might want to stay close for that, and gives you and your party a Tremor Totem buff, making you immune to fears and sleeps. Really, really, really strong, because it's one of the things Paladins are most susceptible to is just CCs. Yeah, they'll probably go Divine Storm if then they can do a little bit of damage and heal a little bit through Divine Storm their party as well. And then they have the usual toolkit, and they need to go into the Holy Talents to get Spiritual Focus for the 70% anti-interrupt, as they do have to cast all their heals, so very important. On an alternative to Inspiration Exemplar, which is going to be a hard pick, but still it's going to be very powerful for larger groups. It's Divine Sacrifice. So you basically make your group almost unkillable for a little while, and you can not be sheeped while you have it up. Have a huge utility in group combat. So yeah, Holy Paladin, massive utility. They have the normal Paladin utility skills. And there's potential Tremor Totem here. They have a lot of outs with Divine Shield, Insignia, and yeah, as mentioned, Divine Sacrifice potentially. They are definitely the most tanky healer, and only get tankier as the level progresses. And yeah, they will have massive throughput with the Beacon of Light. So really, really good for big parties, and also very, very good for small parties, as they can just tank rogues and warriors and stuff like that, basically with not too many issues. So it's a top healer. And the only con you can find here is they are a little bit susceptible to not being able to heal while they are on the move. So they get Holy Shock at level 40, which helps a little. It's a long cooldown, and they're missing their Cleanse, which they get at 42. So that will make them even better later on. But for now, they are an A tier healer up here. If you like this deep dive format, please like the video. It helps me out a lot as a new YouTuber. And hit subscribe if you want to stay up to date on all my class deep dives and content for the upcoming season of Discovery release.